If Google's your only source, you're going to struggle.
Educators say technology as a whole is changing how they teach and how students learn.
Google's a search engine, and it's very limited, but it also provides a wonderful world of opportunities. It's like Pandora's box. I mean, you can find just about anything there.
I've told teachers all the way along, with technology, if you're giving a test that they can Google all the answers to, why give that test? I mean, you can Google the answers to what and when. We want them testing the how and why so that kids are applying the things they're learning in class.
Dr. John Bigford says it's important teachers show students the proper way to use Google.
I teach future teachers how to examine the source, not just the information, but also the source of information.
Some students admit they use Google more than they should.
I always am like, oh, well, Google it if you don't know the answer.
But also claim they only use the search engine for frivolous answers.
It's usually just like little odd and ends questions that I will have that I would go to Google for, like silly things like the definition of a word I've never heard.
However, educators say if students are Googling answers, then they aren't doing their job.
In a way, it's a red flag that maybe there's something you could do better as a teacher or as a professor to hook or engage the students.
While some students like getting the answers with a click of a button, educators say that Google shouldn't replace libraries.
Instead of having to go through 500 websites, there's probably 3 books in the library that you can peruse through and find the information that you need instead of going through all these different websites. I think I am an advocate for Google. I think it's the way that we teach it and how we are going to teach our kids to use it. And then not just consume it, but how are we going to be a part of producing part of that, right?
Think of your information as like a Venn diagram. If you have 2 or 3 sources, where do they all converge or where do they diverge? You know, don't read to comprehend. Scrutinize your source.
So how are we going to ask questions better? How are we going to find out what our kids know the right way and they're not just Googling it, but are we teaching them how the process works, how the problem solving behind it works, how the collaboration works behind it?
So the next time you Google something, don't just read the answer. Make sure you check out the source. Meredith Hackler, WAND News.
I've always known that I was different ever since I was little, but in high school we had Transgender Day of Remembrance, and it kind of just clicked for me right then and there that that's how I wanted to express myself, and that's who I was.
Kaysen was born Cassandra, just like Leslie was born Cody, both feeling trapped in their own bodies.
Imagine yourself being in completely the wrong body. Your mind is just in a shell of something that looks ugly.
I was 21 years old back in 2010. I went through a program in Los Angeles where I had to drive every other Friday, no matter where I was living, just to wait and to get my shot. But it was completely worth it to me.
Each are transgender, each on their own journey.
It would make me feel complete. That way, my body matches what I think my spirit feels like. I know a lot of friends that have gone through the process and didn't do the final surgery, and they're perfectly happy. It's just not my path.
It's our own bodies, it's our own temples, and it's what we're comfortable in. So not everybody's comfortable with getting all their surgeries.
Leslie says her wife has been a big help.
They've basically been my pillar, just making sure that I don't fall off to the wayside, making sure that I actually keep going through. Days when I'm just like, I don't know why I'm doing it. I look over and I'm like, okay, I'm doing it for her.
But Kaysen's family had a different reaction.
It wasn't up to the last couple of years where they actually realized that this is who he is and we're just going to love him for who he is, and things have been awesome since then. I think that's the most important part.
Transgender issues have been in the headlines recently, with some states passing a bathroom bill and President Donald Trump announcing an end to transgenders in the military.
The reality is everybody knows transgender people. They just don't know that they know transgender people. When you talk about transgender people, that's a wide range of people, including cross-dressers and non-binary individuals and a lot of other identities. And those don't necessarily require medical intervention. People that identify as transsexual, and that's actually the diagnosis in the health world, is transsexualism.
While many argue being transgender is a mental health condition, others say it's not.
Experts consider it a health issue, not a mental health issue. It's in the DSM to allow people to access therapy and to get services, but it's not really seen as a pathological mental illness.
The National Center for Transgender Equality reports 1 in 5 transgender individuals have experienced homelessness at some point in their lives. Many end up killing themselves.
Yes, it's one of the highest suicide rates as populations go. It's usually 34%, but it's often in adolescence. When it's as an adult, in my experience, it's actually not due to regrets. The incidence of regrets is 1 to 2% of people, which is actually quite low.
Trans individuals say they just want to be treated like everyone else.
We're all just regular, normal people. We do everyday things. I come to work, I teach my class, and I go home. I don't even think about it.
We're probably the most understanding, loving, accepting people because we have gone through the absolute worst.
Meredith Hackler, WAND News.
I just love helping people. I mean, I do it all the time. This is nothing new, especially to anybody up in here. They know it's nothing new, but it's just me.
It was just another day at work for Joe Thomas until someone snapped a photo of him helping a disabled customer.
Every Saturday, and they'll come in, and no matter, they don't even need menus or anything. I know exactly what they want.
When people come to IHOP, they're typically excited to eat what's on the menu. But at this IHOP in Springfield, people can't wait to open the door and be greeted by their favorite server.
He is a wonderful coworker. He is always there to help. Anything I need, he's right there.
Well, this is the first time Joe has been recognized on social media for his good deeds.
Really not one of them guys to be all up in the cameras and the flash. And I'm not one of them kind. It's just, somebody just caught me doing something good.
His kindness and work ethic hasn't gone unnoticed by coworkers.
Joe's been doing it for a long time with these customers, and they're really great. There's his normal customers. We love seeing Joe do it. He takes his time out of helping another table to feed her.
Joe's a legend. He's been here for a long time, you know. He's got a lot of requests, every people. He's really dedicated to each guest.
I think it should have happened a long time ago. Ever since I started working here, every weekend that couple comes in and he feeds her every single weekend.
Joe says his compassion was something he was raised to practice.
My mom and father always have told me to treat everybody as equals, no matter what race, creed, color, or whatever. Treat everybody equal.
In Springfield, Meredith Hackler, WAND News.